Hey, what is up, guys, and welcome to part 15 of my DayZ adventures. Now, normally in my adventures, I have my commentary and some in-game commentary playing in the background. This time, I caught up with M.Lightfoot from Bohemia Interactive, who's also a production assistant on DayZ StandAlone. You can listen to the whole interview once my little intro is done. But before that, remember, Facebook and Twitter. I asked you guys a couple of days ago if you wanted me to ask him your own personal question. Many of you have sent me messages. Don't forget, you can follow me on Twitter and you can also add me as a friend on Facebook. If for some reason we do have more interviews, I'd love if you guys can ask questions yourselves and I can just ask them for you. Enjoy the interview and I'll see you after. Would you please introduce yourself and tell us who you are so we know what exactly you do?
Okay, so I'm M.Lightfoot. I'm the production assistant on DayZ at Bohemia Interactive. So what is a production assistant? It's a fairly varied job title. It means that I can be doing anything from helping coordinate testers to trying to set up flights to go to various events and solving any problems that we have along the way, really.
Right. Tell us in the DayZ standalone, clothing-wise, how is that going to work regarding to heroes, survivors, and bandits? Is it going to be pretty much the same as we know it so far, or have you changed something?
Well, we haven't decided on a final implementation because obviously with the customizable clothing, that could throw a spanner in the works because it means that, if you're forcing somebody to have bandit clothing when really they want to wear a hoodie and such. So it's how we implement that.
But surely you should be penalized for shooting players so other players would recognize, well, hold on, this guy shot a couple of people, I should be warned somehow, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but then does that have to be through clothing? Could it not? One of the ideas that we have thrown around is possibly blood on the hands or blood on the clothing, so
So it looks like you have committed a murder, even though you was not really close to him, but still, it'll just pop up there, right?
Possibly. Again, it's something that we've not made a final decision on, and it's something that's still up in the air, really.
Right. I know we spoke before, and you're still not deciding if Utes is going to be part of it. Have any decisions been made yet? And how big is Chinaris Plus?
No, there's not been a decision made on Utes yet. Chinaris Plus is the same, well, roughly.
225.
Yeah, roughly about the same. All of the changes are done within the actual landscape of Chinaris. So,
Okay.
for example, added urban areas that we've shown through the dev blogs, balancing some of the already existing towns and things, and correcting like flaws in buildings and grass showing up through the floors of buildings.
Right.
So it's mostly been improving on Chinaris.
Right.
That's really what Chinaris Plus is.
Right. What about, have you ever thought of borrowing an idea from Wasteland? Let's say you've started in Kamenka, you move your way up, you found the best gear, which should take you anywhere from a couple of hours to a couple of days. What are you gonna try and put something in there for the players to keep him busy? Are you gonna try and make maybe certain missions? Maybe something will come up on the screen where you need to do something. And related, this relates pretty much to Wasteland. If you've played a little bit of Wasteland, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah. Well, we want to have an something for players to do end game, but the problem is how can we do that within, server limitations? For example, with Wasteland, they've got some of the servers have built, you can build a base.
Okay.
But because that's done above ground, it means there's more items saved to the map. So, say for example, on a server you've got 50 people. Out of those 50 people, 10 people are trying to build a base. 10 people build one. So 10 people build, 2 items every day. How many times will that server be full throughout the day? Let's say 4. So you've got 50 people creating 2 buildings a day, 100 items a day. After 2 weeks, you've got
thousands,
1,400 items created. After a month, you've got 2,800. So all those extra objects and things that are being saved to the map will eventually clutter the map, and
obviously the more stuff you have, the more lag you're going to have, then the more the
Yeah.
server's going to have more problems. Same thing happens in Wasteland because there's too many things, and these days, even in DayZ, I've seen a lot of admins and a lot of servers are starting to implement quite a few things from Wasteland, which more or less lags the servers, because it's not really one of the best ideas and the best approach to have an A10 in DayZ.
No, and it's really how we achieve an end game without affecting anything else. And that's something that we yet to decide. And um, we spoke about base building underground, because that means then that we can kind of
You can manage that, yeah.
yeah. So I'm just trying to think of what the word was.
Is it the
We can
same word
instance it.
as the facility?
Yeah, we can instance it. So, like on Skyrim, you've got your main land that's all one. So that
Right,
would be Chernarus Plus. When you go into a dungeon, however, there's a short loading time where it loads that, and it's a separate world space,
right.
um, which would eliminate the problem of items. So that's one idea, but that's not something we're going to be looking at till the second half of the year, really.
Right. In regards to engine optimization, is it still going to be what DayZ is when you come out of the woods and you head into the nearest town? Are you going to be losing 60, 70 frames just because you've gone into a town, or have you really addressed that issue?
Well, I say if I rule categorically and say, nobody's going to lose any frames when they enter a building, that would, I'm setting myself up for a fall.
Right. I mean, obviously,
But
it's going to be understandable to lose a few frames. You're coming up into a city, you've got a town, a village, a city, whatever it is, you've got more zombies, more things popping up on the screen. Obviously, it's only natural that you'd lose some frames, but as it stands, you'd go from 70, 80 frames in any kind of small little town. As soon as you get towards Electro or towards anything that's been crashed or whatever, you'd go to 20 or something.
well, I'd say that it's going to be significant. The impact is going to be significantly decreased, because all the zombies are spawned in at the start now, or that's something we've been trialing, which means that rather than your client having to spawn them into cities, which it currently has to, it's done by
Well,
the server at the
right.
start.
I was just going to say that in the new patch, the 1.7.5.1, even if you drive a car through the city now, the zombie will still spawn. Is
Yeah.
that something that you guys are thinking of doing, or you're just going to have, as soon as the server goes live, zombies are up and that's the end of it? Or
Well,
do you still
initially
require a player?
we've
Sorry.
not tackled vehicles yet, because we want to primarily launch with just your character, guns and things. So vehicles will be in one of the updates after we release the initial alpha, probably.
Okay. So vehicles
We
won't be in first off when you buy the game. They'll be out a month, 2 months down the line.
I don't know that it would be that long. We may still implement them for the initial
Right.
release. It depends when we do the initial release. Um, but it's
Which
something
it's still not set in
no,
stone yet.
no. Um,
Fingers crossed about Mayish.
um, so yeah. As
So,
for the lag and things, like for example, zombies now,
yep.
zombies in the mod currently use the same skeleton as players,
Right.
meaning that the animations can cause more lag. So what we've done is we've gone back and redesigned the skeleton so it's more efficient,
Okay.
um, which is why we're doing the motion capture in the latest devlog, and hopefully that'll address some of the issues that um, that caused.
One of the biggest issues I always have in DayZ is obviously scripting. Remind us again, what are you guys doing about trying to get hackers banned, scripters, and all that sort of stuff?
Well, currently the two main methods that are being employed is we're using VAC, so that's Steam's method of banning people, um, and that will ban someone's, for example, DayZ game
Right.
on Steam, which means that they then have to make another Steam account to play DayZ,
Right.
which is a bit of a deterrent, especially if you've got all your other games on one account. The other method we'll be using is this new client server architecture, um, which puts more onus on the server to check data rather than it being done by clients.
Okay.
Also, because we're using Steam, we can ensure that that people don't load um, unverified files in at the same time,
Right.
reducing the chance even
Of
more.
somebody actually scripting.
Inevitably, there will be someone hack
It
DayZ at
will. I
some
mean, any
point.
game will have somebody hacking, but like I
Yep.
said, a couple of hackers here and there. I'm not saying it's okay, but I'm just saying I played Battlefield 3 for over a year, and I've met 5, 6 within that year. I'm not saying that's right, but I can manage that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Diseases. We spoke last time about it. You didn't have that much stuff in front of you. Tell us a little bit about what you guys are thinking disease-wise when a player dies. What can you actually catch off him? How's that going to transfer onto the player? Is going to be an airborne disease? Can you still get a disease from a blood transfusion? How's that going to work for us?
Well, the diseases will be done like they happen in real life to some extent. So all diseases start off with what's called a latent reservoir, which is where the disease is kept. So,
Okay.
for example, they believe that H5N1 bird flu was
Yep.
started off with bats, I think. Bats, mice, rats, wherever that latent reservoir is. Or it could be, a water source or something like that. So what we can do is we can start a virus on one server and one water source.
Okay.
So in that water source is infected with, say, I don't know, cholera.
Okay.
Then anybody that uses that water source will have a chance of being infected.
Okay.
Then they can pass that on to other people by infecting other water sources. They can also, they can infect other players through bodily contact if the virus is one that spreads it through contact. And then, obviously, that will carry on.
Obviously,
Now,
airborne viruses too. Yep.
even if all the players, say for example, that first player that catches it then goes, "Oh, I've got cholera," and then finds the appropriate medicine, treats himself,
Okay.
you know, he's then cured. However, someone else will go to that latent reservoir and pick it up, and then they will spread it around as well. Um,
Right.
so
Are
that,
the hives going to be connected as it were when DayZ got released?
well, there was only one hive when we first started it. Our intention is to start off with just the public hive,
Okay.
um, and all servers will connect to that, and we'll see how that goes.
So hopefully, once I've logged out of one server, if I move into other one, I should be able to keep my gear.
Yep, that's our intention.
Is that something that you guys are going to implement from the get-go, or are you going to see how it works and then maybe patch it in a couple of weeks, a month, 2 months down the line, see what you can actually do?
No, that'll be your personal gear will be carried across, but things. So, for example, you find a vehicle on, I don't know,
Obviously, yeah, not vehicles yet.
vehicles will be probably stuck to the server.
Right.
But your personal gear stuff that you're carrying on you, weapons and things, can be carried across. It's really hard work, and I think the thing is as well is both myself, Rocket, and other members of the team really, you know, as I briefly mentioned earlier, it's not just a job for us; it's something we love. It's a game that we've always wanted to see, so we're willing to go the extra mile, and we're doing things that we wouldn't normally do because it will make it better. And
Okay.
yeah, people just wait for it to be released.
You've mentioned that the first version of the game that's going to come out, you're going to market it and sell it as an alpha, right?
Yeah,
And then every week, every month, so on and so forth, you're going to have certain things that will make their way back into DayZ. So for those people out there thinking, well, hey man, I've just bought the game, there's no cars. They should not really worry about it. They should just wait a week or a month or whatever it is, but it's something that will be addressed in the next patch, right?
well, I mean everything. Think of it like a bit like Kerbal Space Program or Prison Architect. We'll be adding regular updates to improve things, add new things in, um, add more weapons in, add more vehicles, different clothing, lots of things like that. Um, especially after once we have released, we'll be able to settle down into this fairly regular updates where there'll be less pressure on ourselves because we're not having to reply to as many people.
Yeah, the game's out
Same,
there and then you can just fix on
yeah,
certain things.
yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully, and I know it's not as easy as it sounds. And just briefly, you've mentioned that you're going more civilian than military. Does that mean the end of sniper rifles? Does that mean the end of people just camping out the shorelines and just picking off fresh spawns. Are we going to get spawned with anything, or are you keeping the same system as it used to be?
I think the system will still be you spawn with very little. As for military weaponry and sniper rifles, there'll still be hunting rifles. And there'll
Such
still
as
be
your
opportunity.
CZ and stuff, right?
Yeah. And other various types of hunting rifles, and there may still be sniper rifles. I'm not sure which military weapons we're directly keeping though at the moment. But all the weapons will be redone. So
Okay.
that we can improve the sounds and improve the models.
Okay.
And things like that. So,
You've
it.
mentioned. Sorry, go ahead.
No, no, go on.
You've mentioned that you're kind of trying to. You're not 100% sure if the heli crashes are going to stay in, therefore giving you, well, a bit more of a chance of finding a really powerful sniper rifle, such as a DMR, an M24, an AS50, an M107. Are you planning to sort of gradually take that out, or are you going to completely scrap them and just go?
Well, again, what we've started off with is we want to redo all of the weapons that we have in DayZ, so that they look better, sound better, and that
Okay.
we have less weapons but with more, I say, variations, more attachments. So, for
Right.
example,
You've mentioned it. Yep. Yep.
you could have an AK with a fixed stock, skeleton stock, folding stock, or with a grenade launcher, or a laser, or a torch, or a Cobra sight, that kind of thing. So there's more variations for people to swap between, um, rather than have two versions of the AK and then two versions of the M4.
Yeah.
Um,
So, can you find these attachments in certain places, certain things, barracks, fire stations, and stuff like that? Say you find an AK that's got pretty much nothing on. Would you be able to find a scope for it and attach it to it, or something like that?
yeah.
Is that what you're
We've not.
planning to do?
Yeah, we've not decided the spawn rates of such things yet, though. I imagine it would be fairly rare to find scopes. But when you find those, and your weapon becomes more personalized, um, it will make you all the more attached to it.
It will make you the more desirable target, I presume.
Very possibly.
Very possibly, you are going to be the bandits menu because you've got the pretty much one of the best guns out there, and obviously they'll be coming and trying to get it off you.
Again, it's more likely to be, well, less 50 caliber rifles, more, bolt action rifles, semi-automatic rifles,
Right.
and
I,
handguns and things.
I know you've mentioned that you have to literally pretty much put the mags in the bullets into the magazine yourself. Is that something that you guys are sort of still thinking about, or is that going to make its way into the game or not?
Yeah, well, at the moment, now, as I said, all the magazines and things are now, we store information on. So you could find a magazine with only two bullets in, or
Okay.
you can empty bullets out and things. As to how in depth we go with that, again, is something that is yet to be finally decided. But what I'd like to see is that you could take all the bullets out of one magazine that you find on the floor, apart from one. So somebody sees a magazine on the floor, picks it up. Oh, there's bullets in this. There's bullets in this. Puts it in. There's only one. And we want it to be
Right.
intuitive and things. Now, that means then that you can swap. For example, I don't know. Let me think of something that shares bullets. You've got a 9mm Glock, or
Okay.
you've got a, I don't know, say a 9mm, another 9mm pistol. You can use the bullets out of that Glock mag in that other 9mm pistol mag,
Uh,
which gives you more variation in what weapons you use, and
Well, pretty much, I mean, we do have plenty of that in the current version of DayZ. I mean, there's plenty of guns that you can transform DMR mags. If you click it, you can split them into M20. If you right click them, you can split them into M24s. G17 mags will work for a PDW and so on and so forth. So is that kind of what you
it's
guys
a
are trying?
basic implementation.
Right.
Well, we're looking at between 15 and 20 euros, or 15 and 20 British pounds.
So that would be
So
about $30 or something.
25, $30, I think.
Right. I mean, you're still not paying full retail for a game, if you know
Yeah,
what I mean. Usually, if you'd go in a shop and buy any PC game, it'd cost you 39 quid or whatever it is.
yeah, yeah, and you've got a magazine for them.
Right.
So, for example, if you've got a DMR, but you've got a DMR is 762, you've got, say, I can't remember. You've got the two pistol mags. You've got
Well, the
the
DMR
M9.
is 762 times 51 or whatever it is. The magazine.
Yeah, but I think the Russian measurements are different to the M14. Anyway, that's going a bit in depth. But say you've got an M9, which is a 9mm, and a Glock 9mm.
Yep.
You've got the M9 pistol, but you've not got a mag for it. You've got a Glock mag, but no Glock pistol.
Okay.
You can't use that Glock mag or its bullets in the M9 until you find a magazine for it.
Right.
That kind of thing.
So basically, it's going back to basics again. It's going back to what DayZ was really about when it first came out. It's going back to survival. It's all about you surviving against the odds. And I know you guys have mentioned that zombies are going to be powerful now. They're going to hunt you more. They're not going to stop every time you hide into a tree. Are you making zombies sort of super zombies that you get hit once or twice and that's it, you're out? Are you making the zombies a real threat this time around? You can't just hide in a little bush and that's it, it's gone?
Again, it really depends on as to what improvements we make to the AI, and how many zombies we can spawn in on the server without causing, lag and things like that. So yeah, I'd say it's probably best to wait for that one.
Just wait and see how it goes. Well, that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for your time. Any last message for the DayZ fans out there?
Not really. It'll be done when it's done, really.
It's going to be done. I was just going to say that's what Dean said at the end of that video. Just, it's coming when it's coming.
Yeah.
Right, Matt, thanks a lot for your time. I know you're a busy man. Hopefully everything's going to work out for you guys, and I'm really looking forward to the game, and I'll keep on playing DayZ until StandAlone is out. Best of luck, and I'm looking forward to the game coming out.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you. And that is it for the interview. I do have about 45 minutes of recording, so I do have a couple of more questions which I asked him, and I will be posting them in the next part of my DayZ adventures. I really hope you guys have enjoyed the interview, and I really hope that you got some answers to the questions you may have about what's going to be happening in the DayZ standalone. Like I said, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to post a comment, and I will see you in the next video. Time for me to get my evac and move out. Russian Sniper, out.